Hi, my name is Jamie Dicker. I'm the videographer for this speech, and here is our audience.
Did you know DID cannot form Did you know DID cannot form over the age of 9, meaning everyone you've met with DID has experienced trauma? Hello, my name is Ashlynn Mitchell, and I'm here to inform you about DID and what it can do to a person. First, let's talk about the basics of DID. DID stands for Dissociative Identity Disorder, or more familiar known as Multiple Personality Disorder. It forms after a child has experienced lasting trauma and can only form between the ages of 6 to 9 because a child between those ages don't have a set history of their identity, thus leaving headspace for their minds to create a hard-to-manage coping mechanism. People with DID have multiple personalities they call alters. Hosts claim that alters can be older or younger than themselves, be the opposite gender, and have their own thoughts, feelings, and reactions to things, according to Cibrian Institute. When the host is reliving trauma or going to do something harmful, alters can forcefully switch and stop them, but in some cases, some alters can be harmful physically or mentally to the host themselves. As I mentioned before, alters can take over the host, which is called fronting. Fronting often happens at random and can happen for as little as a few minutes to months on end. A friend of mine, Athena, with DID, has been stuck fronting for 3 whole months before. Force switches are possible in stressful situations, or if the host or another alter has become self-destructive. Another friend of mine, Ari, has experienced this themselves when their life was put on the line after an alter had become self-destructive. Let's talk about the effects of DID in a person. While DID is a coping mechanism, in many cases it can be hard to manage and comes with its risks. Switching between alters can often cause distress in public, according to American Psychiatry Association. As I said, switches often happen at random, no matter the time or place. This can cause panic and distress, depending on the alter and the setting, as the host cannot do anything but sit back and watch. Memory is a crucial tool we use in our everyday life. When the alter takes over, the host usually can see what's going on, but in some cases, they cannot. This is called dissociative amnesia. It is the inability to recall important information that is too extensive to be ordinary forgetfulness, according to American Psychiatry Association. Many people with DID have mental health problems because of trauma. In many cases, people with DID struggle with depression and anxiety. It's even more worrying that DID has an extremely high relationship with suicide, as more than 70% of people with DID have attempted suicide, according to DMS-5, which all relate back to the childhood abuse. Family and friends with DID. Family and friends are also affected by someone with DID in many ways. Remembering all the alters and what they prefer is really tricky, as every alter has a different name. They can also have different pronouns and triggers they would like you to recall. And having friends with DID and never want to hurt or accidentally be the cause of relapse. Even though it's hard to understand and remember everything, especially when there are more alters, most hosts will understand and will help remind you from time to time. Dissociation can be very alarming to friends and family. When an alter switches can be very startling. The mood will change depending on the alter and if they know you. If the alter doesn't know you, they may become afraid or upset, especially if they weren't aware of what was going on beforehand, according to AAMFT. Sometimes they even lash out with fear or anger. To family, finding out your child or sibling has DID is a very scary thing. It may seem as if your child is not who they once were, and it can be very hard to adjust to their needs and the alters. The child will need therapy, which can be costly, but will lead to hope and healing for easier to manage DID and a calmer life. Now let's wrap this up. DID comes from childhood trauma, using derealization to cope with tough situations. When someone has DID, they often deal with lots of other things, such as anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and dissociative amnesia. And their loved ones around them struggle to adapt, but can also provide help and comfort. It's hard to watch friends and family struggle with DID, and it's even harder to comfort them when you know nothing about it, which is why I think more people should take the time to learn about DID and how to help. Any questions? Yes.
What does the representation of your person that you drew mean?
Okay, so there's a lot of different colors, but mainly my focus was the different mediums. So each section is a different medium. The hair is like crayon, this part is like Sharpie, this is colored pencil, and this is highlighter. And I wanted to use that to represent how different from each other the alters can be.
How many altars can one person have with this disorder?
It can be a lot. It's normally it's 1 to 2, but over the years it's gone to over 10 to close to 100.
Is there any treatment?
There is treatment, but it can't ever fully go away. You can do therapy. I know there's like hypnosis, and it'll help you like manage all of your alters and depict who is talking, because I know like in the headspace where all the alters are, it can be hard to like understand who everyone is. So when you go to therapy, it can get like calmer and easier to manage.
Yeah, no. Do you know how many people have this disorder? Or is
No, but it's very low. Like it's not a ton of people. It's pretty rare.
Can they be a member of society and work and have a job if it's under management?
Yeah, they can. It is very hard to manage, but they can totally be like have a job and work somewhere. They just have to get help.
Very good. Thank you.